बिस्मिल्लाहिर्रहमानिर्रहीम। डियर स्टूडेंट, अस्सलामु अलैकुम। उम्मीद है कि आप सब खैरियत से होंगे। आज जो हमारा टॉपिक है दैट इज़ द कंडीशन ऑफ इक्विलिब्रियम। देयर आर टू कंडीशन ऑफ इक्विलिब्रियम, फर्स्ट कंडीशन ऑफ इक्विलिब्रियम एंड द सेकंड कंडीशन ऑफ इक्विलिब्रियम. First we discuss about the first condition of equilibrium. First condition of equilibrium, what say? First condition of equilibrium is said that when the sum of all forces acting on a body is zero, then the body is satisfied for the first condition of equilibrium. Here we write in mathematical form, when the vector sum of all forces acting on a body is zero, then first condition of equilibrium satisfied. Let n number of forces acting on a body, let this is F1, this is F2, this is F3, F4 and F5. These are n number of forces. This is the 5 number of forces are shown in figure. Let we say there are n number of forces acting on a body, then the sum of all forces is 0, then we said body satisfied for the first condition of equilibrium. Here let n number of forces F1, F2, F3 and Fn acting on a body, then according to first condition sum of all forces must be equal to 0. This is the sum of all forces is equal to 0, then it means net resultant of all forces is 0. So we use a Greek letter summation that I start from 1 to n, then n number of forces are shown in figure, that is equal to 0. It is a null vector whose magnitude is 0. For coplanar forces, when forces are coplanar, then we resolve the forces into its rectangular component. A body satisfied for the first condition of equilibrium if the sum of all forces acting along x-axis is 0 and the sum of all forces acting along y-axis is 0. Here we write for coplanar forces. What are the coplanar forces? The forces which are acting at a one point in different direction, whose origin is one point and acting in different direction. We resolve the forces into rectangular component. First condition of equilibrium, x and y component must be equal to 0. Sum of all forces acting along x-axis is 0. Sum of all forces acting along y-axis is 0. Here we introduce I unit vector and j unit vector. I is unit vector for x-axis, j is unit vector for y-axis. Now here are shown in figure, let n number of forces, let 5 number of forces F1, F2, F3, F4 and F5 acting at a point O. According to head-to-tail rule, we add these forces by head-to-tail rule. What is head-to-tail rule? Head-to-tail rule is a rule which is used to add any number of vector. According to this rule, first we take the first vector, then we take the second vector, join the tail of second vector with the head of the first vector. Similarly, we take the third vector, join the tail of third vector with the head of the second vector. Here different forces, this is F1, this is F2, this is F3, this is F4 and this is the F5. These are the 5 forces acting on a body. Now we add these forces according to head-to-tail rule. What is head-to-tail rule? Head-to-tail rule, take the first vector. Now we take the first vector. ये हमने first vector, this is the first vector, this is the first vector. Now take the second vector, that is F2. F2, join the tail of second vector with the head of the first vector. This is direction of F3. This is the direction of F3. Join the tail of third vector with the head of the second vector. This is the fourth vector in this direction, in this direction. Join the tail of fourth vector with head of the, and the fifth vector, join the tail of fifth vector with the head of fourth vector and head with the first vector. This is the sum of all forces. These forces are added. So the resultant is 0. Now we come to the second condition of equilibrium. What is the second condition of equilibrium? Second condition of equilibrium is related to rotation. Mean second condition of equilibrium is related to the torque. When the vector sum of all torque acting on a body is 0. एक body है, the sum of all forces on that body, the sum of all torque acting on a body is 0, then body satisfied for the first condition of equilibrium. Explanation: if net F torque net is the sum of torque F1, torque 1, torque 2, torque 3 and torque n. Then torque net is equal to torque 1 plus torque 2 plus torque 3 plus dot dot torque n is equal to 0. The sum of all torque acting on a body is 0. This statement can be explained as sum of clockwise torque and anti-clockwise torque must be equal to 0. Sum of clockwise torque and anti-clockwise torque must be equal to 0. For example, we can written as sum of all torque, sum of torque in clockwise, torque clockwise plus sum of torque anti-clockwise, sum of torque anti-clockwise must be equal to 0. This statement can also be written as, this is the second condition. Second condition is related to the torque. When the sum of all torque acting on a body is 0, then body satisfied the second condition of equilibrium. Here let n number of torque acting on a body, then sum of all torque acting on a body must be equal to 0. This is second condition of equilibrium. I hope you will understand both condition, first and second condition. आज का टॉपिक यहीं तक था। उम्मीद है कि आपको ये समझ आई होगी। अल्लाह हाफिज़।